Hello and welcome to my breakdown for these skulls for the Skull Throne event, which has now just been renamed to Warhammer Skulls. Now the event this year, among other things, has brought with it a number of teasers for Warhammer 3, as well as a sneak peek for the final DLC hitting Warhammer 2, the Silence and the Fury. I'm going to cover everything here in one video since, to be honest, there's not a massive amount of content, so it's hardly worth covering it in separate videos, at least for me. First up, we have the Enter the World of Khorne tease, which you may realise is the Khorne follow-up to the Enter the World of Kislev we got a while back. This supports the theory that I had that over the coming weeks and months, we'll be getting Enter the World of every other faction in Warhammer 3, so that should be about 6 more between now and launch. By the way, as I mentioned at the start, there isn't tons here we haven't seen before, so I'll kind of skim over things until we get to some new stuff. So the trailer opens up with the all too familiar realm of Khorne with some skull cannons and our friendly neighbourhood bloodletter showing off into camera. If you want to know more about these units, by the way, then you can definitely check out my Khorne roster breakdown in the card. Then we cut to this dude who looks like a heavily armoured bloodletter. This looks to be a Herald of Khorne, which is one of the greatest and most feared of the bloodletter demons. These are demons that are driven insane by their need to slaughter, and this is among the Khorne demons. Basically, these lads have quite the lust for blood. In combat, their rage builds and spreads to other nearby demons, enhancing their combat power and bloodlust until the battlefield is in a frenzied contest to see who can spill the most. I'm guessing this is either going to be a Lord or most likely a hero type for the Khorne roster. We then see another of these glorious shots of armies set to clash in battle, and we see many of the demons we already know. We see all kinds of warriors of Khorne and bloodletters. Flying overhead we have the Chaos Furies, the Chaos Spawn of Khorne at the back, and of course the leaders of them all, the Bloodthirster, who we see slamming down on some of those pistol-wielding infantry we met earlier in the Kislev trailers. We then see the Herald of Khorne facing off against some Ice Guard, with some Chaos Warhounds chasing down some Cossars. Behind these Warhounds we also see a large Chaos Spawn stood alone. This could be a new type of hero in the Khorne ranks, possibly just a giant single entity Chaos Spawn, or it could just be a Chaos Spawn that's broken off from his main pack. It's really too early to tell. We then get a bunch of glamour shots of Khorne units slaughtering the Kislev forces, and I am left wondering why are they fighting on their own turf when it would be so much more impactful seeing them take on Kislev and win on Kislev's own doorstep. In this video, it kind of looks like they're on the defensive, since why else would Kislev be in their realm? Anyway, we finally end on a shot of our Khorne legendary lord, Skarbrand. Also known as the Exiled One, Skarbrand was one of the greatest of all the Khorne demons. He has fought for an eternity in the name of the Blood God and brought about an immeasurable number of victories. He has fought against the forces of man as well as chaos and led his forces to victory in all of the realms. Now, he did have a bit of a falling out with Khorne, however, as his rage boiled over, causing him to attack the Blood God himself, but even with such a mighty strike as his, he could not even dent Khorne's armour and was choked out and cast from the Brass Citadel to wander the realms as a being of pure rage. Rage that no longer has a reason or a master, but inspires incredible violence all the same. Now, it is a little bit of a question mark why Skarbrand would be the legendary lord for Khorne, since he attacked Khorne and hence betrayed him, and hence Khorne kind of exiled him and choked all the personality and life out of him, so he's now just a random demon floating around. But timelines kind of get messed around in Total War Warhammer, so this could be before he's being exiled, but judging by the look of his horns and the tatteredness of his wings, it really doesn't look like it, so I'll be interested to see how they explain it. Now, we also got a few images of this tease, but all we really see is more imagery of Khorne versus Kislev in battle and the scale of those battles spanning across the huge battlefields. Now, in one of the images, if we enhance it just a little bit, we can see what looks to be like a mechanic beast doing some sort of plank. This could be the Juggernauts of Khorne that are normally ridden by bloodletters or other warriors, or they could be an entirely new unit that's kind of like a Khorne Chaos Rat Ogre, but I can't really find anything written down anywhere, so we'll just have to wait and see. We now come to the tease for the Silence and the Fury, the final DLC coming to Warhammer 2, featuring the Beastmen and the Lizardmen. And again, this isn't really showing us a massive amount, so you'll have to forgive me for going through it, although I do have access to the Steam page, so I'll be referencing that where relevant. We open on a cave, obviously belonging to the Beastmen, judging by the effigies placed outside. Now, this could just be for cinematics, or are the Beastmen going to be residing in these underground caves this time? We then cut to a chameleon skink wandering through the ruins of a lizardman's settlement with the corpses of lizards all around and another effigy marking the location. Could these effigies be in dedication to some deity and link into the Beastman gameplay in any way? We'll have to wait and see. Now, close up on our chameleon confirms that we have been watching Oxyotl, and you're gonna have to forgive my pronunciation, Lizardman is very difficult. Now, he is a legendary chameleon skink famed for being the greatest chameleon hunter in all of Lustria and therefore all of the world. He's an ancient being who was alive when Chaos first came to the world and has been to all Chaos realms and returned to tell the tale. The tale he has told inspired him and his followers to wage war against Chaos and eradicate them from their lands whenever possible. Though small, he and his followers are always ready for Chaos and lie in wait to stop their advance dead in its tracks. Now obviously his playstyle is going to be focused on sneaking around and using camouflage and ambushes to get the advantage on their enemy before they even know he is there. We can assume from this that the units he brings will fit into that playstyle and expand the roster of stealthy units currently being held down by the regular chameleon skinks. Now from the Steam page so far, we can also get some vague ideas about the faction mechanics. He can detect where Chaos is going to attack and prepare to defend against them. He also has a secret network of secret sanctums across the world that only he can capture and develop. This sounds quite like the Wood Elves and Magical Forests, although these are completely exclusive to him. He can also choose which threats he wants to take on and gain missions that reward him for successfully defending. He will even be able to instantly travel between his capital, mission areas, and these secret sanctums. And eventually he will need to travel into the Heart of Darkness and face the hordes of Taurox in the final battle. And yes, that is our Beastmen Lord being named, we'll come back to in just a moment. So it's unclear now whether this faction of Lizardmen will be able to inhabit normal settlements, or if they'll just be limited to these secret sanctums. Obviously, we'll find out as more information comes from CA. We then see him tracking a Beastman Lord that we can't entirely see yet to another settlement being burned to the ground. Whoever this is huge and relying on brutality rather than stealth as a massive juxtaposition to Oxyotl. We close in on Oxyotl preparing to investigate the cave, which is now shown to be surrounded by the bodies of many lizards. Now from the Steam page and process of elimination, we can assume that the Beastman Lord is going to be Taurox, also known as the Brass Bull. He's a mighty Minotaur chief who laid a trail of destruction across all of the Great Forest of Talabecland. He leads legions of powerful Minotaurs to chase down the faintest scent of blood or flesh and tear into whatever they find in a frenzy. Even among his own kind, Taurox is a freak of nature, being grossly overmuscular and seemingly impervious to damage. He is a true one-man army. Oh yeah, and he's also been blessed by the Dark Gods with a literal body of brass, with only his gargantuan neck being his weak spot. This weak spot inspires him to communicate with the ruinous gods and attempt to get rid of this vulnerability to make him into a true tank and basically an immortal. Now again, we don't really see anything here that tell us what he's bringing with him, but we can guess his playstyle will revolve around the most powerful beasts of the Beastmen lines and buff and bolster that area even further. I would guess that we would see the Gorgon, which is a huge 4-armed Minotaur variant that we have yet to see in game because it just makes sense for a guy that's this big, he would want units equally as large. I would also think we will see the introduction of Minotaur Chiefs, since they would be the generic version of Taurox. Now to take some guesses at their mechanics from the Steam page. As this faction wins battles, they gain momentum, which replenishes their action points and allows them to fight again and again and again in the same turn, which sounds absolutely insane and possibly overpowered, but I haven't seen how it works yet, so I'll have to wait and see. Now, the longer this kill streak goes on, the greater the gifts that will be bestowed upon him by the ruinous gods, such as fixing that weak spot on his neck or an AC-130 gunship. We can only speculate at this time, but that seems like the most likely thing for me. Okay, that's everything I could find in these Warhammer Skulls event teasers. If you want to see more breakdowns of any and all news in the coming months, as well as Warhammer 3 content the moment I get my hands on it, then be sure to subscribe so that you never miss a video. I'd like to take this time to thank all supporters of the channel, in particular, Kobe Said So, Nifty Norm. I know I thank you guys all the time, but supporting me at that and cleaning ones here is really ridiculous, and I can't thank you enough. One more time, thank you so very much to each and every one of you for watching, and for now, I've been Colonel Damneders, and I will see you next turn.